running somewhere in the upper 80s, edging towards 90. By Wednesday, we'll be all the way up to triple digits, just at 100 degrees.
Hey, it's Jim with My Garage. How you guys doing this morning? I think Juan's mad. I told him to be quiet last week. He's not even here today.
Yeah, Juan's very, very far away, but Juan is on the line. Good morning, Juan. How are you, Juan Gonzalez?
You answered it? Please don't rub it in. That's what they said.
That's
so we're
on
going to
the
talk about
schedule.
lighting. That's on the schedule, apparently. I looked it up today. I don't know what today is, but we're going to talk about lighting and how important lighting is. No, we can't have that. Who's going to buy breakfast? All right, I'm on my way.
Desayuno. All right, so let's talk about lighting. To be seen and to see, LED lighting.
Well, I think lighting is probably more important to be seen than it is to see, because your eyes are going to adapt. I can't even speak this. I'm so excited that Juan's not here. I can't even talk. That your eyes will adapt to the situation, you know. And just like back in the day, pirates would always have one eye covered. It's not because they're missing it; it's because they want their night vision. But nowadays, you know, in the last probably 10, 15 years, LED lighting has really hit the mainstream for cars and motorcycles, more specifically, to be seen. Because back in the early days of Harley, not to bust their chops, but it was like riding around with a big lighter. You know, I mean, you couldn't see, they're dim, they're kind of yellow looking. And nowadays you have a lot of companies like Custom Dynamics, more specifically, that have products that it's like night and day difference. I mean, it's amazing. You know, we have displays you can come down to the store and check out and blind yourself, because it's literally that big of a difference, you know.
And one of the things on the side of the bike, because one thing about bikes, it seems like coming at you, nowadays with the headlights, there's a bike coming at you, and that's apparent, or a car with one headlight. But when you look at the side of the bike, what are they doing to increase awareness and, you know,
visibility?
Yeah, visibility at night.
Well, I mean, you have accent lighting that you could put on your motorcycle. You need to be extremely careful of the colors that you're utilizing at the time if you wanted to do something like that. But they all, you know, LED lighting, they have front to back, top to bottom. I mean, they have everything covered as far as OEM replacement, plus you can add additional lighting. So there's a lot of new products that are out there that you can put on the side. You can put them more on the back of the bike, because it's not so much just the front, but lately we've seen a lot of people, unfortunately, where you're at a stoplight and you get rear-ended. And, you know, they don't realize, people are just like, well, I didn't see his lights, are not bright out. And it really, for an incandescent bulb going to an LED light, it's probably 10 times brighter than it was previously.
What about a light on the back of a helmet? Because one of the things on cars is they've increased over the years. It's almost mandatory now that they have the light that's like on top of the car, like on a pickup truck, or it's on the top of the roof of a car above the rear window. Anything like that thought of for helmets to increase visual?
They do have lights you can get, and you can actually interface them to the motorcycle itself or make them blink. But it hasn't really caught on. I mean, I could count on my one finger the number of times somebody's come in and say, hey, you have a light for my helmet. There's a company by the name of Shark. They actually have lights on their helmet. You know, because you look at like a bicyclist on the side of the road, and they got that little blinking light underneath the seat, and it draws your attention. And that's for a bicyclist, you know, but they don't really have that, you know, for a motorcycle, other than when you do come to a stop. Like Custom Dynamics has a part called a triple play that you could adjust so you could have it flash rapidly and then it'll stay on before you come to a stop. So it draws attention to the motorcycle. But the LED lighting is to me is huge. I mean, that's one of the first things I get a bike I change. And when people come in, we're always suggesting it because you don't realize it until you're in that position, and especially at night or even during the day. It doesn't really matter to be seen. You know, it's ginormous.
Now, what about the vanity side and the safety side? Is there also lights that are specifically there to make you look cool?
Well, they have the lighting that you could put, you know, under the fender, under the gas tank, and there's controllers for them. Custom Dynamics makes that as well. I keep talking about them, but they are the top of the food chain. And the light in itself, you can change it to different colors. So you can make your bike look like a Christmas tree. But it goes back to what I said previously. Be careful of the colors you choose because, you know, certain states allow certain colors and you can be pulled over for that. So it's just you need to check your local laws and regulations in regards to that.
You don't want to look like a police officer motorcycle, I guess would be one of the big things.
Yes, I mean, absolutely correct. I mean, I actually have, you mentioned that, I have what I call lane splitters. I put on my bike, I have a road glide. So on the front, inside the duct, I actually have, plug ears, nobody throw me under the bus here, red strobe lights that are LED. And they wig-wag back and forth that I use for when I split lanes to draw attention to myself. I'm not trying to impersonate anybody. I'm trying to let them know, hey, I'm coming. So that way people do stupid. They open the door on you, do this. Because prior to that, I used to just turn my emergency flashers on. Because it's not worth it. You know, I mean, it's, you know, you're trying to get attention. Then you get it, you know, you get people that are just butt sore because they're like stuck in traffic and they're, you know, they're fuming. I'm going to be late. And then you're just zipping along and, you know, half the speed of smell, but you're still ahead of them, and they get mad over it.
You get
know?
the passive-aggressive people that are trying to cut the lane smaller for you, too. I've seen a lot of that when they see the motorcycle
it's
come
crazy.
up, they try to swerve.
You know, so you know, lighting is important, whether it's on your motorcycle, you know, on your person. You know, I think it's, you know, it's huge.
Since I was dealing with a 405 for 2 years, heavily driving a couple 100 miles a day, the one thing I noticed that bikes do is most of them rev, you know, like that when they're coming up on you, so you see them. Because one of the issues is for a driver in an automobile, you're going about 5 towards 10 miles per hour, and the bike can go 35 or 40. So when you're looking in your rear view and you're seeing the flow of traffic, and then a bike comes up, that guy passes you very quickly.
They started it. It's happened to me, but I believe Juan might be able to correct me. But I believe the law is 15 miles an hour over with the speed. So if they're going 5, you could really only go 20. Because, you know, even though you might have the room to do 55, doesn't necessarily mean it's right. You still need to have the ability to stop or at least make a evasive maneuver when you get that wonderful individual that is irritated at you and wants to open their door or do something stupid.
And nowadays, with these gigantic side view mirrors that people have, especially on trucks, that's also a thing. I saw a guy on a motorcycle actually slam one back.
Well, I know I have customers that talk about it. You know, they come in and hey, you have these gloves that have armor on them and stuff because, you know, people do stupid stuff and they hit mirrors with them because people are coming over. You know, and that's really what's unfortunate. But I think if you have some LED lighting and I think there needs to be more education in regards to splitting lanes in the state of California. To let people know, or you know, they like to have all these things. Why don't they have a motorcycle lane more specifically?
That's the smartest move to make.
You know,
just
I mean,
make a motorcycle lane.
Just say that that's what you're going to do.
Motorcycle.
You know?
They have HOV for 2 or more. Why not have a motorcycle lane?
Yeah, it's a surprisingly important that I guess they don't think there's enough motorcycles. You know,
but it would increase the amount of bikes on the road, I think, in a good way. And it would also put them in a place where they belong, you know, where they can just go. Because the motorcyclists, for the most part, I've never really had an issue with a motorcycle rider. I've always been okay with the lane splitting. It can shock you sometimes because they do go pretty quick. But that's it's part of the life of driving in LA, and you got to get used to it. So, do you have the full everything somebody would need for bike lighting and the like? Are you fully stocked?
We're fully stocked for all the bikes, for blinkers, headlights, whatever you want for LED lighting. If there's something abnormal, so to speak, that's just not a common that you really want, 99% of the time it only takes me a day to get, and we take pride at my garage selling quality products like custom dynamics, because there's a lot of other companies out there. LEDs are not all created the same. And unfortunately, I just experienced this a couple of weeks ago. I was out of town. One of my guys sold a guy an LED light, and they put it on the bike. It worked, but he brought it back the next day, and it was all fogged up on the inside. And I contacted the manufacturer, and I'm like, hey, I need a warranty this. It's all foggy. And they said, oh, well, we don't cover that. I'm like, what do you mean you don't cover that? I mean, it's part of safety. I mean, if the light's all fogged up and it's not working correctly, I mean, to me, there would be a liability there. And they said they don't cover it, So that company's name's Rivco. And frankly, the Rivco products, I won't be selling their products anymore, because to me, my customer is number one, and I want to sell them quality pieces. So, you get what you pay for. There's a lot of cheap stuff on the internet. More specifically, I'll say eBay or Amazon. People buy, I bought it for $60. That light over there is $400. Well, you get what you pay for. And I've tested stuff that has come in, and they're not as bright. But the big issue is where you have the product failure. And that, to me, you don't want it to fail when it's the most important time when you really need it,
How do we find my garage?
My garage is in Satakoy, also known as Ventura. It's 11107 Violetta Street, on the corner of Violetta and Los Angeles Avenue. Los Angeles Avenue ends at our doorstep.
And Juan, how do we get in touch with you if we've had an issue, motorcycle accident, or anything else where we feel we need representation?